Hello and welcome. My name is Biagio Mazza, Pastoral Associate at St. Sabina Parish in Belton, Missouri, and I'm here to welcome you to another Do You Know series question. As we begin the series on the Second Vatican Council, today's Do You Know question is, do you know how the Second Vatican Council came about? The Second Vatican Council is an ecumenical council, a council that calls together all the world's bishops, and it convened for 4 sessions, beginning on October the 11th, 1962, and ending on December the 8th, 1965. So what led to the call of this council? Well, the last ecumenical council, was Vatican I, which abruptly ended in 1870. Roughly almost those 100 years, many things happened in the world. We have the unification of Italy, which impacted the Church and the papacy greatly, with a loss of land and loss of prestige for the Vatican. We had 2 world wars, which really impacted the whole of the world and the nations. We have the Jewish question and the Holocaust, which the Church found difficult to try to figure out how to respond to. We also have the Cold War, the development of technology, the space war, and many other events that really impacted not just nations, but the entire world. The Church during this particular time was really a closed system, very suspicious of the world and of others different than Catholics. And as a result, it kind of was hierarchically structured, and it really commanded kind of loyalty, obedience to rules, and loyalty to the institution under pain of sin, motivated primarily by fear and guilt. As a result, it was extremely suspicious of the world and really refused to engage the world. And yet, all sorts of changes were going on in the world. And so the Church needed to pay attention to that, and unfortunately it did not do a very good job at that. Pius XII, who was Pope from 1939 to 1958, was very much attuned to the need for change and the need to be attuned to what's happening in the world. And he did move on some important things in church life, such as biblical studies, the updating of liturgy, and so on. And he even had the motivation to call a council, but he never was able to follow through on it. He died in October of 1958, and the conclave that came together to elect a new pope wasn't quite sure what direction to take the Church, and they felt that the best direction would be to maintain the status quo, and therefore they decided to elect what came to be known as a transitional pope, a pope that would keep the status quo and not do any changes. And so they elected an older man, a 77-year-old Angelo Roncalli, who took the name of Pope John the 23rd. Now, Angelo, because of his own personality and his own experience of the Church during the 20th century, felt that there was a need for a council, and less than 3 months after being elected, on January the 25th of 1959, he announces to a small group of cardinals in St. Paul, the Cathedral of St. Paul outside the walls, that he had a desire to call a council. And the reasons that he gave were primarily for promoting and advocating church unity among the Protestants and the Orthodox, and to bring the Church in engagement with the modern world and the modern perspectives. Many of the Vatican officials kind of resisted this. However, Pope John the 23rd insisted, and after a 3-year preparation period, the council convened on October the 11th, 1962, and would continue for 3 more years with 4 sessions till 1965. On the opening day of the council, on October the 11th, Pope John the 23rd gave an opening speech entitled in Latin, Gaudet Mater Ecclesia, Mother Church Rejoices, in which throughout that opening speech he addressed the bishops with a sense of optimism and confidence in the world and the church's role in it. And he challenged the bishops to really speak and engage the world with the medicine of mercy and not with condemnation and judgment, has been pretty much the sequence in the past. And so as a result, the bishops really were inspired by his words in his opening speech and really took the ball, if you want, and ran with it during the 4 sessions of the council, which led to significant change in perspectives with regards to the world and how the church and the church's role in it. And so these were some of the reasons why the council was called and how the council came about. And as we continue our series, we will try to explore exactly what happened at the council during those 4 sessions and what were the results of that council. So I hope this has helped to explain just a bit of why the Second Vatican Council and how it came about, and I hope you'll return again to more Do You Know series questions as we explore further what happened at the Second Vatican Council. Thank you very much.